1982 and the month is June. And in this month, test tube twins.
Given that they were 2.5 weeks early, that's quite a reasonable wait. The babies were 2 girls, were both in very good condition.
So how is the mother?
The mother was very well. She was sitting up asking for lunch. So she'd recovered quite quickly from the event.
When would you expect all 3 to leave hospital?
Well, I would think they'd probably be in here for about 10 days, and then they'd be ready to go home.
June also saw cracks starting to appear in the confidence of Argentina's ruling military junta. They began to realize that defeat in the Falklands appeared inevitable.
Argentina's government no longer sends out optimistic communiques to the people stating the situation is under control. In fact, little official information is being given out at all, despite virtually non-stop crisis meetings of the ruling junta. Today, the government here did release a tally claiming Argentina has shut down 25 British planes since the war began, 4 times the number the British can see.
And in June, Britain finally took Port Stanley and the Falklands.
The Argentines were still sleeping as the attack began, and they woke up to find British soldiers among them. Defense Minister John Lott said there'd been hard fighting, but only light British casualties. Advances have been made up to 5 miles by first light, and all objectives have been successfully taken, he said.
No terms of that ceasefire have been announced here yet, but there is a statement expected from Britain's Defense Secretary John Nott here in London in the next hour or so. The latest official word we had from the Defense Ministry was that British troops swept down from their high ground positions today and that Argentine forces were seen in full retreat, streaming back to the city center.
After successful attacks last night, General Moore decided to press forward. The Argentinians retreated. Our forces reached the outskirts of Port Stanley. Large numbers of Argentine soldiers threw down their weapons. They are reported to be flying white flags over Port Stanley. Our troops have been ordered not to fire except in self-defense.
1982 and the month is June. An American songwriter who wrote Waiting for the Rain, recorded by Australian Emma Hanna, this time put out his own song, and it really clicked. Bertie Higgins and Key Largo.
Hello. Let me tell you about myself. I used to be a drunk, a chronic drunk driver. In the 10 years between my first arrest and having my license revoked, I racked up 19 major traffic violations. I caused 6 serious accidents, injured 3 people beside myself, and had my license suspended twice. I was still driving and drinking. And then, one night I was driving home after work, and I'd had a few, and I hit this kid on a bicycle. He died before they could get him any help. He was just 11, a little younger than my oldest boy. I'm living with that now. I was too drunk to see him then, but I can see him now. And I remember.
1982 and the month is June. In June we found there'd been a big surge in pay packets across Australia, men receiving on the average $316.50 and women $207, an increase of 17% since December 81. In an effort to increase his pay packet, Argentinian tennis star Vilas admitted in June that he'd given up sex for a year to concentrate on becoming the world's #1 player. But his year of celibacy proved of no value when he was beaten in the French Open by Swede Mats Wilander, who hadn't given up women for the year. On Broadway, Australia's Zoe Caldwell won a Tony in June. She was named Best Actress on the New York stage. The month of June was the season of the witch, and the big event on June 21st found the Coven and members of the First Australian Church of the Old Religion gathering at Lane, Sydney to celebrate Bitter Solstice, the longest night of the year. All-time loser in June had to be Kunizo Kunigami, aged 86 and known as Japan's oldest pickpocket. Of his life, he'd spent 32 years in jail, and in June was once again charged by police, his 32nd arrest and the 3rd for this year. Dr. Hook had a hit with Baby Makes Her Blue Jeans Talk, and a hit with Australian audiences as they toured the capital cities, and this time around, many provincial centres as well. Now, I was just reading the other day that I think you have about 25, is that right, in this tour?
What, people?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's 7 in the band, and we have 7 guys in our road crew, and then there'll be, about 6 or 7 from the Australian crew. So we always have, it's all men, unfortunately, but, so we're going to look kind of like a boys' choir traveling around. But, yeah, everybody knows each other really well, though.
Yeah, this is the thing that comes through. It seems to be one big happy family, which is not always true of touring bands. Do you work at this? It just happens that you all sort of had the same interests, or what?
You have to work at it. You really do. I mean, just take it right to Ray and I. We're both frontmen for one organization. So, I mean, we have the same ego problems, the same, rows that any brothers would have, but we work them out. And there's no real social classes in the whole band structure. I mean, there's no member of the band or member of the road crew that couldn't sit down together and have a drink, at all. And we really like it that way.
1982, the year that was, brought to you by your friendly bottler of Coca-Cola.